happy to be sharing Mozart's Concerto in C minor K491 with you. I think it's the only Mozart concerto being played, and I'm so glad Beethoven 3 is also being played because I would like to contrast it a little bit and see what's similar, what's different regarding those two concertos, which they're both so great. I chose this concerto because I feel that it really speaks to me. From the first time I sight read it, I knew that there was something different, something unique. And when you're sight reading, you try to get all the notes and you try to see where you are in regards to what the orchestra is doing. So afterwards, I just decided I really needed to sit down away from the piano, read about Mozart, read about his life, and read about why he only wrote one C minor concerto. I wanted to first begin by saying how I believe that the pianist is empowered in this concerto. Now, the orchestra 2D does begin first without the piano coming in like in Genome, but the unique thing is that when the piano comes in, for example, I'm not playing anything that the orchestra has introduced to the audience, which in itself is already something that's very disconcerting, kind of like I was picked up and placed on a Monopoly board, like somewhere way beyond where I thought I was. And I'm trying to really just imagine where I am, trying to find my place in the world. And so this concerto was really, really deep. It doesn't come in with any theme that the orchestra plays, so because of that, I think what Mozart was trying to do was make the piano in a very different place, in a different universe than the orchestra. And the thing is, at the end of the first movement, the pianist plays a series of arpeggios going up and joins the orchestra. So while these two entities are starting off in very different places, they both become one at the end of the first movement. And I think that itself is very, very unique and empowering for the pianist. In this concerto, A flat is extremely important. You hear it in the orchestra part at the beginning, you hear it in the piano part. The concerto, the opening of the whole concerto begins like. And so, when, let's just say you were at the premiere of this piece in Mozart's time, and you hear, you would think it goes here, and then, but Beethoven took that. And so I think what Mozart is trying to do is, from the very first measure, already he's trying to make the audience uncomfortable, trying to see, he really wants you to hold on to the edge of your seat and be like, oh, what is he going to do next? When is the piano going to come in? So I think that itself is very impressive. And of course, when the pianist comes in, the same thing. And then later. And so that A flat is really highlighted throughout all three movements, but especially the first and the third. At the end of the third movement, once again, the pianist is playing a lot of arpeggios, lots of fortspinum, but at the same time, you think it's going to end, but he brings in another. You can see that the A flat is so important in this piece, and it's really a note to really hold on to when the concerto is being performed. There's a lot of dialogue with the orchestra, and that's something I enjoy a lot because I love playing chamber music, and playing a concerto with a big orchestra or a small one is, I think, just a variation off of playing chamber music, because chamber music groups can become pretty big as well. Of course, it's very different, and you finally have a conductor that you can, both entities can rely on or, come together in. But at the same time, I think it's really important that the dialogue is highlighted throughout. And so you'll hear a lot of that when me and Kristen play. And I hope you enjoyed that aspect. Something else I wanted to mention before I start playing is the fact that Mozart, the time period that Mozart lived in, I think was very definitive and it definitely influenced how he composed. And it's heard and shown through this concerto in a very mighty way. As you may know, Mozart lived in a militaristic society. A lot of his patrons were archbishops, dukes, and so because, it was soldiers, war, you hear a lot of that here. And the trumpet and the drums that Mozart uses and incorporates throughout this concerto, they're the same ones that are used in war, in the march. And so that itself is very deep and should send chills down the back of your back. And so I think that itself definitely informs me how I should approach the beginning and the whole piece, but definitely the beginning, because it's really hard to get into that mood. And for me, just a funny little side story, I think I have probably spent more time working on the first phrase of the first movement than the first movement combined, because it is so hard to play well, because the notes are sparse, no 16th notes, and it's just so deep. You really want to feel it, and you really want to tug at your audience's heartstrings, and it's really challenging to do, but it's a challenge that I've learned to go at over and over again, and each time I perform, I think it comes out a little differently, and that's what makes music so special for me. So I hope you enjoy. I would like to welcome my wonderful pianist, Kristen, up to the stage. She'll be playing the second piano part.